So what you're noticing, just the movement of going, we're always manifesting all the time because we're also sending our vibes out to the world in every single way. So everything we're creating around our lives is really an indication of where we are. Like, this is what you're vibrating out to the world. This is what you're getting back from the world, right? And then you decide, okay, that's not what I want. Like, I want to really shift what's happening. And I want to shift at the core, like who I am, to really step into this new vision, right? So the fact that, a couple of things, testing your skills in that way, like, oh, I just thought about it and it kind of like halfway happened, or I thought about it, had a desire about it, and like it happened like that, right? So you're starting to notice the differences in your energy, attention, and intentional focus around what you want, and how things, your level of when the thing happened, how much intentional focus you applied at that point, and how energetically open you were to it, and how much you desired it, was probably different than sort of like it kind of happened, but really didn't, or not at the level that I wanted it to. So that's like the first level of discernment of like, oh, this is real. Like, I can be super magical with this, right? So the next piece is, the more intentionality you put behind it and the more visceral desire you put behind it, then the more likely, the stronger it's going to pull in every single time that you do it. And the critical piece here, which is why we've been also doing a lot of body stuff versus looking at like mind stuff per se, is that when you're manifesting, you can be an energetic match for what you want without having the mindset for it. And no one actually really talks about that. You can be an energetic match for something, but your mindset may make decisions that are not like aligned with where you are actually energetically, and then you take yourself out of your manifestation blessings. So, concrete example, everywhere I go, there's always a front row parking space for myself. I went to go get something for my son for Christmas, and I was like, oh, the parking lot's going to be crazy at the mall. I'm just going to find the first space, right? I find the first space, I'm getting out, and then like in the front row, like one row over, the car was pulling out, and I was like, ow, I'm not jumping back in my car to go there. Like, that was my parking spot. Happens all the time. It happens all the time. So that is a differentiating factor, that you can really be aligned to something, but because your focus and intentionality is not on that outcome, you either miss the cues of when you need to act, or you just don't see it happening, altogether. And we see this a lot. Like, people are like, oh, like, I don't know how it happened. I wasn't thinking about it. It's still happening, but you don't see it. So you pull yourself out of it.
Right. Okay.
So that is that level of, that's why we're looking at both pieces of it, because sometimes they're not both aligned, which is why like your body can be a beacon for something, and then your mindset that what you have just isn't on the level. And so you keep missing the stuff, and you're like, why is it not working? It's not listening. No, you are not seeing what's already coming together because you're not focused on that as it is a thing. So that would be the other piece that I would start looking at as well, is, where is my body feeling very comfortable, and like it's that feeling, that deep femme magnetic receptive feeling, like it just is. And then where does my mind come up and be like, is it really what it is? I don't really know if this is what it is. What I have to do like a million other things and all this other stuff in order for it to happen. So that would be where I would start to play with, especially if you notice that there was a difference between where you sort of were energetically towards something versus mentally with something. And then see, when you really bring it together, like the body feels really good about this, like I'm really aligned with this is where we're going, and like mentally I'm right there too. And so I'm bringing both sides together. But yeah, and play games with the universe, like continue to test it out. Like, I want this, I want it by this date, and it just is. So what do I need to do for that? Then you start sitting into the co-creative process when you start asking those questions. So like, what creates this vision that I have? What creates that? What are my
Right.
steps to do that? If let's just talk about like money for a second. Like, what if you really want 10,000, but you really can, but you're like, I'm good with the 1,000, and like 1,000 comes in and you're like, oh, but I wanted the 10,000. Like, oh, if I knew that the 10,000 was going to come in as easily as the 1,000, I would have asked for the 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So then you know that there's a mindset piece where you think 10,000 is harder than 1,000. And then that's where you go, okay, so I need to get my mind shifted around what this actually means for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it came in really quickly with this. I could have had like $9,000 more. I didn't believe it could be that easy as that 1,000. So then that's where you get to push yourself to really break through programming that says like 10,000 is harder than the 1,000.